hold on. Let me turn on more lights. Dark.
I could
Hold
see you
on.
okay, but okay, that's fine.
And it's dark because we have such a bad storm. It's so bad. It's like pitch black outside. But you can see
Yeah,
me?
yeah, definitely. You're all good.
Okay,
Wait,
good.
weather
Well,
is
it's
like one thing after another for you down there.
I know. Well, these coastal storms in South Carolina are no joke. When they come, like about 10 minutes ago, it was about 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And we have a tornado on the ground, but it's not in my town. So we're they're a little scary. Yeah.
Yeah, I know how it is. I mean, I have a lot of friends who live down on the south or by the coast, going up to the east coast, and the weather can be cool. But
Yes.
most of the time, when it's like summer season or hurricane season, I'm often texting or checking the it's okay, no power, we're evacuating, or all of that. Okay. Well, I'm in
No.
the Midwest. I always get tornadoes, but we haven't had any for a while. So finish up.
Well, we get them usually over the ocean here in Myrtle. We get them like because and it'll push them out, but hopefully this will settle down, but they're a little bit scary, but so if I all of a sudden go bye-bye, that our power went out, just so you know. Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't happen over
Yeah.
a chat.
Yes. Okay.
But thank you, Lindsay, for coming back
Yeah.
to the cat chat to talk about your latest book.
Yes. Yes. I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
So this is Lindsay's latest book, Where It All Began. And it involves horses. And it involves high school romance and a friendship and between two families. And then something happened. I'm not going to spoil. Something happened and formed a new kind of relationship with a lot of unanswered questions. Business until Willow, the main character, comes back home to help out her father. And that's when everything started to fall apart and come back together at the end of the story.
Yes, it does. That's a perfect. I'm bringing you along with me for my elevator pitches. You do.
Exactly. So you need me to promote, let me know. I can promote your book anytime.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, I know I say it's a love triangle, but it's a very, very different type of love triangle. So it does involve three best friends growing up from childhood, Willow, Grayson, the hero, and Tyler. So yeah, so it does twist a lot, but there's a lot of emotional growth with these three characters, and that was my whole goal with it.
So as I was reading the book and I was reading a little bit of the social media, and I had a feeling that you got the idea of the book, where to start with the story, and that idea was planted from the first book, your memoir with the grief and the trauma. So you want to share how that idea blossomed into where it all began, going all the way back, and how it became such a beautiful book. I'm raving. I'm all of the books I've read, and I'm hoping to hear more about your future book. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, beautifully written, and how I was able to connect and I was able to grieve and feel. So
Yeah. So in 2018, I wrote my memoir and I published it. And it's a story about overcoming my own personal trauma at 16 years old and also losing my son Joseph in 2013. So it's sort of two traumas wrapped in one. And when I was putting together where it all began, the initial spark for the story started with my own story, a part of my story where when I graduated high school, just like Willow, I had gone through a horrific trauma at 16. I wasn't healing, I was ignoring it. And I thought to myself, if I leave Connecticut and just go to Boston, which is where I went to college, everything will just get better. I'll leave it behind. I'll move forward. All is good. But when you ignore your past like that, it doesn't always work out that way. Now, I'm not saying that other people can't go and get fresh starts. Of course they can. They can go and move and have a fresh start. Like that's totally fine. But if you completely ignore what you ran from or where, your issues, like for Willow, she and Grayson broke up on prom night, and then there was a tragedy in her family's barn, which is her parents' livelihood. She just shut it all in and just left. And when you ignore that, it's going to circle back eventually some way or another, and everybody's journey is always different when it comes to healing. I'm always very loud about that. Like healing is not linear, never in a straight line. And so for Willow personally, her character, it totally slammed her in the face when she went back. And I trickled in a lot of, I'm sure, and you read it, like where she regretted it. She regretted missing the birth of her niece and nephew, and she regretted missing her brother's first flights after he graduated flight school. She regretted being there for her parents as they rebuilt their family horse barn, because that's their livelihood. She just missed everything. So for her, it's almost like she went into this, like you've heard of the fight and flight response, right? Well, there's also a freeze, and I feel like Willow's character just froze. She went to Connecticut, went to college, got with Tyler, which a lot of readers don't like him, and she froze. That's the best way to describe it, and that sparked from my own story where I froze when I went to Boston, and I did all the things that I was supposed to do. I went to college. I graduated college. I met my husband. I did all the things, and people would never have known, except my closest friends, what I was struggling with. And I had my own full circle moment. So I wanted Willow to have that as well. And so that's what I mean by there's a lot of emotional growth throughout this story, but not just for Willow. It's for all three of the characters. Once you get to the end, Tyler's not so bad.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I was reading the book, I was like,
Yeah.
It's like,
X amount.
why would he do that? I
Yeah.
mean, I was telling Lindsay, I was like, why would he do that? He goes, oh, don't worry. He could tell everybody at the end of the book. I was like,
Oh, I know. He needs his own book. He wants to be the main character and he's not. So, we got to give him his own book.
fine, fine, honey, you're gonna try hard enough to be the lead character of the book. Maybe
Right.
the next one.
Yes.
Like with the Hallmark movie, if this guy's not a leading character in the movie, maybe he will be the leading character of the next movie or
Right.
another movie.
That's right. That's right.
So, like, how did you like come up with all these characters? I know based off of the memoir, and then you go off to college, you start a bunch stuff, and you meet your husband. So, how did you like come up with all the characters and share like which of the characters besides Willow kind of like based off of you with your particular trauma and grief, like with Grayson, Tyler, Liam, the brother, right? Yeah,
Yep.
Liam and Wesley, the brother, and of
Mhm.
course, Willow's best friend, Ivy.
Yes. So for the boys, actually, the story originated with just Grayson and Willow. And I wanted to mix it up. I wanted to get some more drama in there because there's a lot of stories where they come back to their high school sweetheart. And we love those stories, right? It's like, oh, how cute, all that. But I wanted to add a little bit more depth. And because their story, Willow, Grayson, and Tyler, stems back to their parents. It's almost like a generational secret, right? And so it kind of just upped the stakes a little bit and made it more dramatic, I guess, for the reader. So that's how Tyler got in there. So he's not really stemmed from anybody. Grayson's personality, as you see through the book, of course, he and Willow are instantly attracted to each other once more. Like there was no hesitation. They were like, yep, feelings are still there. But Grayson is kind of a laid back, he's not a jump in kind of guy. And that's totally my husband. And when I was thinking about when I met my husband, he was exactly the same way. And so it was, I thought about my own story and running from Connecticut, right? Trying to heal. And then I met my husband. And so I kind of gave Grayson a little bit of his personality. So it was easy for me to create Grayson because of that. And then Ivy, when I create secondary customers, characters, I sort of just go with it. So like I knew I needed to add some more people in her life, not just Tyler and Grayson. So she goes to college, obviously she's going to meet friends. And so I had to give her a friend. And I sort of develop them as I go. So I might create the name, but their personalities, they come out in my writing. I never really pre-plan the secondary customer. I always say, why am I saying customers? Characters beforehand, because I kind of just come up with it and how they're going to be as I'm writing. And then I thought to myself, okay, am I going to give her siblings? And I gave her Whitney, the older sister, and Wesley, her younger brother. And again, with them, I just sort of developed them through the edits. I deepened what I needed to deepen with them. The older sister is more of like her go-to and who she talks to. And then for Wesley, she can go to him too, but it was Grayson who ends up going to Wesley. So that and I love that scene with them where Grayson and Wesley, their bromance reconnects and their friendship blossoms again. Yeah. So I
Yeah, that
just
was really nice. That was really nice because I know when I was reading with Wesley or like with Grayson, we're trying to like connect, but Wesley was a little bit like offstandish at first because of course Willow was his sister. I was like, okay, but I really like how he flowed and how each character like took baby steps or nudged and that one character to another to base what is the missing piece? What is what really happened? I mean, I was like really into the book. I'm like, I want to know what happened. I'd be like, why did she go off with him? Why did he put you away? I was like, what is going on here? She was kind of like, let's say, one tree hill meet we were lions or
yeah,
something. Just
yeah,
like and then at the ending, totally surprised. But at the same time, I was like, finally,
yeah.
finally. What happened was terrible. Yes, there were so many things that went wrong and should have not happened. But again, it's the book, or it's a movie, or it's a TV show. Nothing always goes our way where we wanted to, because if it went our way, we would probably get one book or
Mhm.
one season. We would not have
The
ongoing.
Yes, yes. And, you know, the story is more than just Grayson and Willow coming back together. Obviously, they're going to come back together. That's the sweetness of it. But it's really about their personal, from this one night, all this stuff happened. Something happened to Grayson. Tyler was going through it. Willow, something happened to her with the fire and the barn and all that. And the prologue was packed, right? So all these things are happening. And none of them handled it right. But they're kids. They're 18 who at 18 can handle anything, right? I know my 18-year-old can't. And so they needed to mature. So that's why it was 8 years later. I had to give some time for them to grow up a little bit and be able to, when they do face all this, they're a little bit more mature than they were at 18 years old. And so it was really a story about that as well. And I describe the book Heartland meets Where the Summer I Turned Pretty. Because if you've seen The Summer I Turned Pretty, you've got the love triangle, then you've got the horses. So you've got Heartland all in one.
Yeah. Team Conrad or Team Jeremiah. I was like, I am not comparing any of those with the book, but it feels like it because
Yeah.
of course when everybody's 18,
Yeah.
they do things very rash. They're
Yeah.
impulsive. They don't
Bad
take the
decision.
time to think. So like for me, when I was 18, I got into a small car accident with two of my friends. And then a couple of weeks later, I just like, okay, pack up my stuff, move to New York so I could go to college there. My parents were like, don't go, you don't know what you're doing. I'm like, no, I'm going. And
Yeah.
then like about a year later, I came back home with a tail between my legs. My parents were like, I was like, I'm just start over. I know what I did wrong, and it taught me about my lessons. It taught me about what I did wrong and how do I learn from it. And of course, that part of that was trauma. But I came back home. I started over with therapy, another community college, and picked my life right off from that. So sometimes that has to happen. You do something
Right.
stupid or something
Right. Willow.
right, and you learn
Right.
from it.
And that's what Willow did. She made an impulse decision and just froze and stayed there. And nobody's perfect. I mean, some people could have turned it around sooner, but my character didn't. So, and she eventually does, and which is really good for her career because she's a therapist. And my goal with her was as she makes this full circle healing, it'll make her a better therapist because therapists are people too. They have stories too. And sometimes we forget that, especially in romance. We forget people are people. And I don't make perfect characters. I never will. So that can be unlikable to some readers because they want to pick up the romance and just be swept away. And that's fine. And be swept away and not have to deal with problems. But I put a little bit, I hurt before the happy ending. So, the happily ever after because I put the drama in there. Let's put it that way. Make them people. That's my goal.
Yeah, definitely. Like with the readers and the reboot. I mean, as soon as I finished that book, I was looking at all the reboots. I stuck with that one particular reboot. I was like, oh no, oh no.
He wants the perfect characters. You're not going to get them with me when you pick up my books ever.
Okay,
Yeah.
can you even think of one book or one movie or one TV series that is almost too perfect?
Yeah, you just can't. That's not life. That's not who we all make mistakes. Hello, that's how we connect with these characters. That's my goal. So people can read it and be like and show compassion and maybe they're going through something similar. So so yes, you're going to get the escapism. You're going to be able to be brought into Martha's Vineyard, which the setting is one of my favorite places. I could never live there, so I lived vicariously through my characters. But it's a beautiful place. So you're going to get that. But with my books, it's going to hurt a little bit because I don't have perfect characters. And I don't think I could ever write a perfect character because it would annoy me.
Definitely. I mean, like if there's a book or a movie or a person or anything that's almost too perfect, something wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
Something wrong. Like a huge red flag. I'm like, the guy's too perfect, too good to be true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like with
Exactly.
Hallmark movies, everybody thinks Hallmark movies are almost too perfect, but they have some kind of like a conflict or misunderstanding or communication because that all happens in real life. There's no like one happy, perfect movie, TV, people, book, play, musical, you name it. No.
That's right. That's right. And I always want my readers to know, even if you would choose something different in their situation, doesn't mean everybody does. And that makes us people. That makes us humans. And we all choose different ways in which we want to move forward in life. And that's important I think, for people to remember. Because when we're reading a book too, it's like these aren't real people. So we tend to judge them easier. Like, well, I wouldn't have done that. It's like, well, okay. But in the book, she does. So I wish everything could be so A to B, but it doesn't work that way. So,
Definitely. With the book, you know how I am with book. I try to like picture characters up on like that I read or Hallmark or non Hallmark. So this book was actually a little bit of a challenge because I was like juggling with the people I'm not know this is the meat done or this one thick. So for Willow, I actually had Amy Tea Garden
oh, okay. Okay.
from Friday Night Lights and My Family Christmas Tree with Andrew Walker. I should have pictured her with her long brunette hair, like summer kind of thing. But Grayson, of course, I had to choose. He's very um mystery. He's very reserved. He doesn't show very much. He's not a showy person. So the first person that came to my mind was Grayson Horn.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
was in A Cross Country Christmas with
Okay.
Rachel Lee Cook. So
Okay.
those two really like stood out there. But for like the supporting characters or the background characters, Tyler, I was going back and forth with Justin Metcalf or Drew Stealing. But I
Okay.
just could not find a guy who was more of a like a cocky or like, hey, I got the girl, you didn't. You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
With me, I definitely thought of Amy Groening.
Okay. That could work. Yeah. Okay.
And for the dad, Liam Brown, I couldn't like try to like figure out all of the beautiful, amazing Hallmark dad, but I thought of Jefferson Brown.
Okay. What I'm trying to picture him. I'm trying to picture him. I don't think
The
I can
way
picture him.
home, from the way home.
Okay.
And
Okay.
he was in the movie Christmas Island with
Oh,
Andrew
okay.
Walker.
Yeah, yeah.
With the brother Wesley, I wasn't sure. I was trying to picture like they're from high school, and like 5 years or 8 years later, I was trying to be like age appropriate or whatever, but that never worked. So I came
Mhm.
up with Marcus Wastener or
Okay.
Steve Lund, but he might be too tall. I don't know. And Tyler Hand. I don't know, but I could not even like imagine all of the main Hallmark hunks for this book because it was completely different. And it was more deep. It was
Hmm.
more raw. And it was more
And
country kind of thing. So I was trying to like branch out. I was really like, so that's all that I came up with. I was trying to think. I tried to go back and read for the Chad, Michael Murray vibes. I was like, no, not it. And
Wesley's,
other,
yeah, Wesley's hard. He's a hard character to, I think, to cast because
yeah.
he's in there a good amount in the book. Like he's in there a lot, but like we don't really know his personality too much because I mean I could have talked about him more, but it's not the book's not about him. So I always write too much with my secondary characters and the editors always cut because it's not first of all it makes the book too long. Second of all, they're not the heroine and hero. So I can't do that. But Wesley it's hard. He was hard to for yeah.
Happening.
Yeah.
So, thank you for sharing with your latest book, where it all began, and how it kind of like connecting with your life. Because I know some authors out there based on just like a random idea transforming into a book. But I really like how some authors have like a personal connection or personal trauma that connects with the book they're writing. But it's not really all about them because they actually help you write the book and
That's
just
right.
let it all out and it becomes part of a healing process.
Yes. Yep. It is. And it's very healing to write it. I mean, so because I know that it's a part of me when I put a part of I don't always put a part of my stories in my stories. But when I do and I write it out, it's very therapeutic. I love doing it.
Stephanie, is there any plan for another story coming on after where it began? Could be another story. I think I recall from the ending of the book something going on with Riley and Ivy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there could be. I could absolutely do a whole series at Martha's Vineyard. The setting is perfect. Um, I, you could create so many different stories around that and all these characters. I'm not sure if a sequel or even a series would come out with this book. Um, but I am in the process of writing a trilogy, so that's exciting.
Yeah. What next for you? I know you have a couple of books coming out in 2026. So you want to share like what your process is like or your insights of your upcoming book?
Yeah, so I actually have a book coming out in October. It's called Christmas in Focus, and that is my Vermont-based next Christmas story. And that comes out mid-October. And then 2026, I'm actually working on a trilogy, and I am so in love with this story. It's set in Bar Harbor, Maine. So it's got that like that, Bar Harbor, the foggy coastal, because it's a mystery. So it's a trilogy romantic mystery. And I'm really excited about that one, because I finally can write like not a series, but it is a trilogy. So it'll be three books intertwined with the same characters, but three sets of couples that you're going to see come together.
Hmm.
So, and they solve, and all three of these characters are connected to two characters from the 1940s and right before the Gilded Age in Bar Harbor, which because Bar Harbor was like known for all the millionaires that would go there. And it's about two people who fell in love, they could not be together, and how these three couples connect to that story. So it's a it's been a doozy putting that one together. I definitely have had a lot of headaches because I've got a 5 week old kitten, so I'm like juggling both of them. But I'm really, really excited for that one. And I actually have an outline that I'm going to submit for a two book next for my next Christmas book, be a 2 book sequel. And that one's going to dive really deep into some of my personal story as well. So I've got a lot of projects in the making.
Yeah, there's a lot of projects I want to think, okay, maybe Lindsay woke up one day. I think I'm going to work on a trilogy. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to work on it. That's the next thing, but I feel like I want to do my Christmas book. I can't keep up. I mean, I
Yeah.
have
Well,
one book and I
yeah.
have one script. So I'm like,
Well,
yeah.
the Christmas, my next Christmas one may not come out till 2027 because I'm trying to get the trilogy out. So, so it'll be spread out, but this one, I've already got the first book done. It's something it's like I've never written like this way before ever with it. So it's definitely these two characters. It's the deepest I've ever gone, but it's a mystery. So I have to have the drama in there. So it's been fun to write, but really hard because you got to piece all the stuff together, and that can be tricky. So thank God for editors.
That would be very interesting with the trilogy and the three couples and the characters don't kind of like going back in time and present. So I really look forward to that kind of book, especially with the Christmas Promise and the Christmas Corn. They're my top two favorites. So I might read them again over the summer or second time for Christmas in July.
Yes, but then you get another dual timeline because Christmas in Focus is also a dual timeline. And that one takes place in Vermont. So you got the skiing and all the things that happens up there. So it's a sweet story.
Will Daisy Duke be one of the inspiring characters in any of the books?
Oh,
That little crazy 5 week old kitten.
oh my gosh, she was abandoned by her mama, so I became her mommy. And I am also working on a children's book. I'm just waiting on the illustrator to finish the picture, and that takes a while for the illustrator. And she saw the kitten. My illustrator texted me and was like, "Oh, we got to put Daisy in there." I said, "We got to put Daisy in there, Daisy and Obi." But
Oh,
because with Obi's a Doberman, and she's this tiny little kitten, and she climbs on him, and he's actually so good with her, so good. He is so patient. My mom's dog is a tiny dog. He's not patient with her. But my big dog is so good with her. I love it. So yeah.
that's how to introduce all these animals when they're little. We try to like start up little because we have two cats and two dogs. So when we got a burnt cat, I think he was about 10 weeks old. I think after getting birth and all of that, doctor and stuff, we got him. It took about maybe, I want to say a month until
Mhm.
we got into them in the same room. But both of my dogs were like looking at each other. The cat man, no, the
Yeah.
cat my friend, stay away. And then they were getting into random fights. So I was like, oh my God, let the Kit Kat be the best friend. I have a
Yeah.
small dog and a big dog. Then
Yeah.
we have another cat in the mix. But it
Oh,
took about 2 weeks to get everybody get used to it. They're like, oh, great, another cat. Okay, we'll just do what we did earlier with Charlie. And
yeah.
like whatever with each other. Sometimes the small dog get the cat. But
Yeah.
if the cat goes near her boy, she will go near the cat and bark. I was like, girl, come on.
Yeah, yes. Cats are wild. I haven't had a cat in a long time. And she's all now that she's gotten her medicine and because she was sick when we got her. Now she's good. She's running wild. She started jumping off couches and she's only 6 weeks. I mean, she was only 0.3 pounds when I got her because she was not fed. She was abandoned. So she was frail and tiny. And now she is like running circles around the house. So they grow really quick.
The video, the picture about she is tiny.
Yes, she
What?
owns my hand. Yeah, I know. She's so sweet though. Yeah.
So thank you for sharing your insight of the new book that just came out. And I'm very excited for your future book in 2025, in Christmas 2026, and then unfortunately 2027. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
So do you have any like special plans over the summer besides taking care of that 5 week old kitten?
I know. Well, we traveling is going to be tough because unless my mom can take her, it's like having a newborn all over again. I know it's not forever, but luckily because where we live in coastal South Carolina, so there's so much around us that my kids can do from here to Charleston. So it's like we have vacation all around us. We might I might go to Florida to see one of my friends, but it's even hotter down there. So I don't know. Maybe I'll wait.
Probably
Um,
not. You probably where we live at Hattie not. I don't think need to go to the Florida.
right. Mm-mm. So it's
And
hot.
I'm going to New York in a couple of weeks. I'm like, okay, break my thought for another long car ride to New York. And then I
Yeah.
hang out with the family there and then a long car ride back. And then a
Yeah.
short few weeks go back to work.
Yeah. Yes, I know the summer. I mean, down here we get out so early, so it's like they're already halfway through. We're already halfway done with summer break. I'm like, wow, that's fast.
Yeah,
But I'm not complaining. I know you
I
are, your
finished, I
teacher.
finished in the middle of June, and then the middle of June. So I'm not used to finishing middle of June because last year or 2 years ago we were finished like that mid-May. So our summer was like and now June is like okay, wait a minute, July next week. Oh wait, never mind. Yeah, July next week because I finished work on June 13th, but I made that enormous, It's not going by so fast, but it feels like can it should
Yeah.
calm down just a little bit? Can we just fit in another month of summer in there?
Yeah.
And I'm not quite ready.
I know. That's the me though. I'm ready. They can go back because they're driving me up the wall.
Oh yeah, I'm ready for my kids to go back. I should like, because I never got my moment of peace for 1 week and a half off because we finished the same day. And I earned no time off from you guys. And
Yes.
no peace in the house.
Mhm.
Okay, we could do that. But my daughter's working, so that kind of helps a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have my teenager. She helps too, but we had to get out. I mean, because we have all the tourists that are here. So they had to clear the schools out because it gets super busy down in Myrtle Beach. Really busy. But I live away from it a little bit, so I don't have to be in the middle of that. But if we want to go to those beaches, we can. It's like we're on vacation when we're down there.
Oh, that nice, that nice vacation at home. But I don't go anywhere, but it's still a vacation.
Yeah.
Well, Lindsay, I wanted to appreciate your time coming on to the Cat Chat again to talk about your latest book, and I am very excited to see what comes next for you because your writing with all of these books are very unique and very different, and I should like to see from authors trying out something new, like you said, the trilogy with the mystery, with all of that, something you haven't really done. So I'm excited to see how that book turns out
Me too.
and how it unfolds with all of your other three books.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I really love this. I can't wait to write the next one. It's because I have it all mapped out now. Now I just have to put it books 2 and 3 together. But the book 1 is all set. Well, not all set. It's got to go through all the rest of the edits, but I love it. It's coming out very good. So yeah.
Yeah, but be like a whole process because I can't imagine like authors, okay, I'm gonna do a trilogy. I was like, okay, how do I do a trilogy? I have to map this one out and then this one out and then that. I have a student who just graduated from high school and she's going on a full ride in college. So I'm very proud of her. And she's working on different books. She goes, I write it a 4 book series. I was like, girl, I'm only just writing a book on my life and it's one book. How can you be in high school with a full IB schedule and working on 3 or 4 books? It's not the only book I'm working on. I'm like,
Oh
they're
my God.
killing me right now, but she's very motivated and she's very creative. So I shared my book with her. But she shared some the glimpse of her book with her. She was like, the book is so good. I was like, thank you. I'm almost done. And then I could begin the whole beautiful world of editing. And then
Yeah.
I can fix everything before it comes out.
Yep, that's right. Editing is, but look at editing as you're putting the magical touches on the book. It's a I love edits. I love changing it. I love making it better. Yes, it can give you a headache at times, but it really does make your books like just shine. Woo, our storm is coming back. It's getting bad out again. Yeah.
We got a break from the heat. So right now it's been like 70s. And that's like 80 below 70s. That the humidity was a little bit low. That was like, okay, I could deal with it. But this whole weather messed in my head, my body up. So I woke up this morning. I was like, I hope I'm myself and I hope I am nice or ongoing with my 2 podcast interviews because I am not feeling them. But after the bird interview I had this morning, I took a break. I went out for a walk. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit better, but I can't do hot cold, human,
Yeah.
no human, turn off the AC, turn on the AC. I was like, no, no, just pick one thing and just stick with it until winter at least, please.
That's that's what the weather is here. It's in the 90s and it stays in the 90s until like October. It's hot. Yeah.
Going to wrapping up the podcast, have you had any chance to see any Hallmark related movies or you just like, man,
Um, I was gonna do I was gonna do all the ones in June because I went on the Hallmark podcasties show and we talked about all the upcoming June. And then my girls got strep throat. That was fun. So they were sick for 2 weeks. And then I was trying to juggle that plus the new kitten and the writing that I literally have not watched anything all month. And mainly because of the illnesses. My one got sick, the other got COVID. And then it was like, oh, I was like losing my mind. So I'm hoping I'm gonna have quieter nights now in July, and maybe I can watch what's coming up for. I don't even know. You'd have to message me and tell me what's coming up in July for.
oh yeah, definitely I will. I mean, the past month has been all about past, born into Rome. So those 4 movies were destination movies.
I
The
know I
first
wanted to
one
watch
was, no, the first 2 was Barcelona. The first one was to
Spain.
Barcelona with love. The
Yes.
second one was Two Boats Alone Not Forever. Both of them were really good movies. I like the second one the best because of the chemistry, because of the story. Now I saw the first one. Oh, okay, I know where it's coming from. So both of those movies were good. And last week they released Bella Amber Ray with Lloyd Mumford and Kevin McGarry. That movie was really good. I mean, my number one so far. Because the second about the Lona movie was number one. And then I thought Bella Amber Ray. I was like, I think that movie could be number one right now. Because that movie took its time with
Mhm.
the leading character. You know, sometimes at the beginning of the movie, there's like an automatic chemistry, and they get it right into it. But and then this one is just like it was the automatic spark. But the character took their time warming up and helping each other out and trying to figure out their backstory on their I don't want to say trauma, but they left their life behind to a new country, and the romance, the chemistry was just like painting. It wasn't like any typical Hallmark movie. So that one was number one. The last Hallmark Passport to Life comes on Saturday, which is called a Machu Picchu Proposal, and that was in South America. So I'm looking forward to that one because my father's side of the family is from South America. So I'm hoping this will be a good movie that I have to rethink my ranking. But that the passport in the Hallmark movies been released. I can't recall other movies that had been released in the summer. There was a couple of other ones. There was one I did not finish watching. I started watching and I was like doing things around the house. I forgot that movie was on. My, I tried watching it again. I was like, I can't get into it. No.
Yeah, I've got a lot of, I really was looking forward to all the destinations in those movies. So I'll have to catch up on that.
Definitely, definitely. I don't know what is premiering for Christmas in July. Typically, I will know, but that's my research for the next 7 days, no, 6 days before I go out into Christmas in July. Then
Yes.
when I mean time is going by fast, I'm like, really 6 more days until July? Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yep. And then it'll be Halloween and Christmas all over again before you know it.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go from July to Christmas. You don't have to do Thanksgiving or Halloween or any of that. But to go from July to Christmas because I really need a place to cool down or the world needs to cool down. I'm
Oh,
fine with
yeah.
that.
That's right. That's why I write these books so everybody can escape this world. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's like all different kinds of books with all different kinds of fall, spring, or summer, or Christmas. My friend wrote it about she wrote, I think, a summer springish book, and then she's working on a fall book, and a Christmas book. I was like, a fall book? Oh, it's gonna be pumpkin spice latte. She goes, no, yeah, pumpkin spice latte in that book. I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
Well, the second book in my trilogy is like a fall. There's no pumpkin spice anything. There's like this is because it's a mystery and there's some dangerous families involved. It's a whole but you got the romance in there too. So it's definitely a happily ever after for all three characters, but I refuse. I'm not putting pumpkin spice lattes in that one.
You have a Christmas book that says gingerbread latte, and I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, thank you, Lindsay, for coming on, and I hope the weather calms down for you guys in the next couple of hours or days.
Yes, it's these storms can be very intense, but it'll hopefully cool it down to 90. From 100 to 90.
Yeah, I was like 190, now I was at 70. Okay, this is okay. Keep it up.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well, thank
again,
you.
thank you, Linda, for coming on. And for those you out there, please check out her new book, Where It All Began. You will really enjoy that book. And it had hauntings in it. One special haunting in it, too, as well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. We'll talk next time.
Definitely. Have a great night, Lindsay. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.